to everyone watching and listening around the world, and welcome. Today I am speaking with Simon Koolwijk. Simon is an experienced facilitator and filmmaker and owner of Facilitator Transform, a company that supports development through participatory video, and he has been working in the international development sector for over 25 years. His work and interests in filmmaking and participatory video training help give voices to people around the world in an interactive and engaging way. Facilitator Transform has recently partnered with IMA International to deliver training in remote participatory video, and we are very excited to see what innovative learning experiences can be created from this partnership. We're very happy to be working with Simon, and I am very glad to be speaking with him today and finding out more about his life, work and passion for participatory video. So hello Simon, thank you for speaking with me today.
Yeah, hello Olivia, nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Do tell me, do you feel that participatory video has found its place in international development? Why is it so important for international development?
Well, I can say it's still in an early stage, although participatory video exists since 1969. It was developed in Canada on the Fogo Islands, but let's say in the last 15 to 10 years, some development organizations have applied participatory video to give voices to the people, and I myself started with participatory video in 2009, and I did quite a number of interventions, but it is still limited. So projects that are very innovative, focused on learning, and who really want to give a voice to the people they are working with, they are very much in favor of participatory video. But I still see a lot of organizations who are more working on upward accountability, on reports, on too much information, and mostly it's not about the people you're working for, but you have to do an evaluation and the report has to look good and to please the donor. And I think that has to change. And participatory video for organizations who are innovative and really want to change the development sector, they very much welcome participatory video, and these are the ones I like to work with.
Yes, I think that you're right. Innovation is really key to developing in the international development sector. So it's really interesting to hear you say that that's what you're interested in as well. So when did you first experience participatory video in your work? What was that experience like?
Well, I met a colleague in 2008. She was very enthusiastic about participatory video. Unfortunately, we never worked together, but I did a lot of self-study and I did some filmmaking courses, and then I bought a camera, made some small documentaries, and then I was working with a project in Uganda on literacy, and it was a youth development project with a library and some sports activities. So I went there to do an evaluation, and I thought, okay, let's try out participatory video. So we organized a sports day with the youngsters, and some youngsters were really interested to make a film. So I taught them some camera techniques, gave them the camera, and actually that was the biggest challenge, to delegate people to give a camera, and it worked out perfectly. And I helped them with the editing, and really they were proud. They were really catching all the stories from the youngsters, why reading books and playing games was so important for them as youngsters to develop themselves and to get more job opportunities. So that was my first experience.
Wow, very inspirational experience then. Really, yeah. Yeah, that's really lovely. And what then do you think there's lots of it's a very innovative and progressive area of work, and what opportunities or new experiences do you think are around the corner for participatory video?
Well, there are lots of opportunities, but mostly I think with projects where people need to be listened to and given voices to. So that can be both in the humanitarian aid sector, to hear stories from people on how they were resilient and went through the crisis and managed to keep their living and get a positive experience about it. But it could also be about projects on healthcare, on education, on climate change, so that people can really show their local situation and tell what is most important for them in their lives, what is happening. Or they talk about, if it's about a project intervention, how was the situation before the intervention, and how has the intervention changed their life or their situation, so that they can compare the two things. So I see possibilities everywhere. Of course, it is an investment for the organization doing it, but really the benefits and the gains are very big compared to a regular evaluation.
Wow. So what's that in comparison to what so that's what should be around the corner then? Yeah.
So maybe to give you an example, a project I'm really proud of. I worked in Ethiopia on participatory video from 2013 to 2017. This project was on social accountability, and the project aimed to involve citizens in improving healthcare, education, food security, road infrastructure. And they were working together with the government and with local service providers. In Ethiopia, service providers are still part of the government sector. And in that process, bringing these different stakeholders together, the participatory video really helped to hear the different perspectives. So, for example, on healthcare, in some communities where they did participatory video, you could hear how was the situation before the social accountability, and there, for example, clinics were not furnished well, they were dirty, people were not pleased about the healthcare service. And by the process of social accountability, if you heard the stories, like people saying, the service providers, the doctors are now listening to us, they are not arrogant anymore, the medicines in the pharmacy are in stock as what we need, there are generators to have electricity at night when women deliver babies, and government really admitted that now we see impact of our budget. Before, when we gave budgets to the health service, we couldn't see any impact. And now if we invest in our local community in healthcare, we really see big improvements, and both service providers and community citizens are happy. And if you hear these stories on video, they are very powerful. So what happened, some of the videos were used at regional and national events to catch more stories from communities who were participating in social accountability, but also communities who were doubting about the impact of social accountability. When they showed the videos, when they saw them, they were really so much impressed, and they said, we also want social accountability in our community. And on government level, because in Ethiopia, of course, now it is not that politically stable, but by that time, civil servants at the ministries in the capital were not able to go to the communities. So the videos were also very informative for them to see on how policies were implemented and successful on the ground in villages. And normally they didn't hear these stories or they couldn't imagine what was happening. So that also influenced policymakers and national ministries on the national level. And that is an example on how participatory video can really encourage change, and you can make big progress if you do that systematically in your project.
And it seems to open up a new way of communicating across barriers that would normally be there. So yeah. That's and a new way of finding out about other people and their lives and their experiences. So that's really interesting. And has working remotely impacted this? Has it impacted what participatory video?
Well, I started to work with my colleague Rolf Otto. We started to experiment with remote participatory video in 2020 when the Corona pandemic started. So we had to experiment and we worked with projects in Uganda, Turkey and Germany. And by going through the process, we really also saw there an impact, because organizations were most working from home. They had difficulties to reach their communities. And by working remotely and having the teams to communicate with the communities, we could hear a lot of valuable stories, what was happening in the communities, on how they were coping with the impact and the effects of the Corona pandemic in their community. So it was a way and a means still to be communicative and in touch with the communities and really hear and listen to their stories. And in all projects, it helped the organizations to improve their services. So for example, in Uganda, they discovered that there was not enough food security in the communities. They were working with refugee communities. And through that, they initiated, when they were able to reach the communities, some training in agriculture, in business training. So there it helped some of the communities involved to improve their livelihood just through participatory video. Yeah. And then we did in 2021 an intervention in Greece with refugees. And through the process, by working with an NGO that was working in 2 refugee settlements in Greece, we were hearing stories that the NGO workers hadn't heard before. So they were working with the refugees, but they didn't hear the real life stories because people were afraid. So we had to build the trust step by step. And by building the trust with these communities, by having Zoom meetings, having the refugees involved in the Zoom meetings, they gradually started to talk and really what was touching in their lives. So of course, still with remote participatory video, if you organize it well, you can still accomplish a lot, but it's a very structured process. You have to build it step by step, and building the trust with the communities you are working is the most important thing. And I know NGOs, some of them, they have to do maybe too many things, are too ambitious, they come too short in the communities. They might come there maybe once every month or once every 2 months, and then you cannot build that trust. So if you have a participatory video process and you do it step by step and you are regularly in touch with the communities, then you get that trust and then you start to hear the real stories. And that's what it's all about. And that's why with participatory video, it's not the most important thing, the video or the film, it's not for the cinema. The most important thing is the process. And the process is working together with the community, with the NGO, maybe some other actors, and by going step by step in doing research, in doing camera training, in doing interviewing, in filming. By doing that by step, you build the trust and you start to hear the real stories, because the community are the ones who are owner of the film. They are the ones who tell the stories, but also direct the film. And that's where we are guiding them.
Wow, that sounds really really hopeful for the future as well, and it's clear that we've learned a lot from COVID and having to work remotely. And just lastly, just to finish, I suppose, what's your future ambition in your career, and what do you hope is out there?
Okay, of course, I have quite a number of ambitions. Of course, I hope to do a lot of remote participatory video trainings with you, with IMA, so that we can teach a lot of people this innovative and strong methodology. I'm also looking forward to do some interventions, so that we work directly with an organization and communities, that we can do a participatory video intervention together, so that the intervention can be used to help to empower the communities and maybe make some changes at regional and national level in a country, and that we can even be effective, that policies can be changed. That's one side, and on the other side, I'm a filmmaker, and in future I hope to gather a team so that I can make a big drama film or a documentary. But for that, I still have to strengthen my network. Although I already made a lot of short movies, but I hope to make a long movie in the future.
Well, we hope we get to see it someday. That's really exciting, and I wish you the best of luck with all of your future ambitions. Well, thank you very much, Simon, for speaking with me today. And I hope everyone who's listening and watching has enjoyed hearing Simon's thoughts about international development and participatory video. And Simon, have a lovely rest of your day, and it was brilliant to speak to you. And yes, thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.